Well, it's time. It's over. Tonight, at least for now, is the last night of Questions Week.
Oh, good, because I'm so sleepy. Oh, I go to sleep.
But how could that... I gotta say, doing Questions Week is a lot easier than doing the normal show. I mean, no news, no things of the day.
I'm not sleepy because of Questions Week.
What the hell do you have to be sleepy for? I'm the one who got up at freaking 4:30 in the morning this morning and took a train into the city, was 3 hours late to work, but no one noticed.
Well, it's sort of like I get tired when I don't do things, you know? So I sat at work today and I didn't do much work and I was just kind of...
So now you're gonna stay home all weekend not doing anything, thus falling into a category.
No, I'm gonna do stuff this weekend. I got plans.
All right, so you're gonna... What are you gonna do? You're gonna find some matching shoes for that sundress?
What's the deal, God? You give it up already. It's not funny.
I think it's hilarious.
No, it's just kind of and lame.
Anyway, you know the drill. We're not even going to bother. Just listen to the rest of this week. So Wednesday, October 17th.
Yeah, you Thursday-only listeners, you should be listening to the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday episodes this week.
Just this week.
Oh, no, you should listen to them always, but...
Monday, October 15th through Thursday, October 18th. We're answering your questions. We're not saying names, yada, yada, yada. No research. Didn't even read the questions. We don't have any internet in front of us to answer anything. We're just kind of playing it by the wire.
There's like a billion questions here.
Yeah, and also, we'll just say that, like the other 3 days, we have... And actually, for this, I think we have 3 days worth of questions. No. So, there will be episodes in the future that will answer many more questions.
All right.
Without further ado, have you ever been violent with each other?
Seriously violent? I don't think so.
Nah, I think once or twice we punched each other in the arm, but even then it wasn't...
It wasn't like a real, like, seriously wanting to hurt anybody. But I think there were quite a few tickle wars. That's all you're getting.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that in the future, because it wasn't just Scott and myself involved in that unfortunate situation.
Oh, the second question lets us do an opening bit.
Oh, not bad, because something happened today.
Yeah, see, a lot of things have been happening in the news. There have been a lot of things of the day. There have been a lot of things happening in our lives, and we haven't been able to talk about them because of Questions Week. But you know what? Here we go. What companies do you work for currently, and do you change often?
Well, I guess you can go first here.
I was working for some company, and now I'm working for a different company. And let's see, I got out of college. Well, I was working when I was in college, you know, different places. And then as I got out of college, I got the job, and I worked there for a couple years, I think, maybe.
You know, I don't even remember.
And now I work where I'm at now, and I've been here less than a year, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much well, my first job ever was the federal government.
I'm not going back that far.
Because I never worked in high school. I never had a job until I graduated high school. And I never really had a real job until, I was at RIT, and I had to do a co-op to graduate, and IBM was all, hey, Brandon, you want to work for IBM? And I was like, no, I don't want to do databases. And they were like, don't worry, we'll keep your resume on file in case someone else is interested. I was like, yeah, right, you're not going to keep my resume on file. And then like 2 days later, some other IBM manager called and was like, hey, so-and-so gave me your resume. You want to do networking for us instead? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I worked at IBM for like 3 years, and I took my last online class to actually get my degree from RIT that I kind of skipped out on getting for a little while. And then I quit. I worked at this other company with hospitals in the Bronx until, today.
Oh.
I was idly looking for another job, just kind of like poking around Craigslist, like whatever, let's see what's out there.
That's the best way to find a new job, is just stop doing work at your current job and start going on Craigslist instead until eventually.
Or even keep doing work. The thing is, just put your resume on Craigslist. If you're competent, they will come. And I'm not going to get into the details at all, but I'm going to start work probably on Guy Fawkes Day for a new company that has given me a 40% raise over my current work. So the combined income of myself, Scott, and Emily is kind of sick.
All right.
I got a lot of freaking money, and I don't know what to do.
Okay. What are our favorite 5 current ongoing podcasts?
Pseudopod and Escape Pod, which I'm going to count as 1. 12 Byzantine Emperors, because it's not over yet. Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentlemen. NPR's It's All Politics. And,
Geeknights.
I'm not gonna say that. Something else.
Let's see, Dave and Joel.
All right, Movies You Should Say. Which I love that podcast.
Let's see, ESPN PTI, Dave and Joel, Derek the Bandit,
Come on, snap, 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 puff, 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 go, go, go.
Geeknights, and because I listen to more, but they're not. I wouldn't call them like my favorites.
You know what? While you might say, "Oh, saying Geeknights is such a cop out," but you know what? And this is gonna sound really dumb, but I kind of listen to Geeknights now, and I used to not.
Yeah, I don't listen to it all the time, but I do like listening. The Roadhouse, sure.
I guess if you're looking for more podcasts, you probably would like the podcast that we like if you like our podcast.
But then again, you don't want to ask us because we don't really change what podcasts we listen to very often.
Oh, I try. I've got, you should see the list of geek facts I've got ready to go for all the shit podcasts I tried to listen to in the past year.
All right.
Right. So, hey, Rim and Scott, I have a simple question for Rim. As far as I can tell, his name is Brandon. Therefore, spelled wrong.
Therefore.
Why do you call yourself Rim?
Didn't we talk about this?
I've answered
times?
this on the show like 4 times, and there are 2 separate forum threads that give the exact answer in kind of excruciating detail.
So we're not going to answer it now. Let's move on.
I'll just say this. Think of it as a pen name. It's just my stage name, except it's also my name in real life.
Like Sting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm one of those people who had the balls to say, all right, guys, call me Sting, except it worked. And
well, the reason it worked in my case because I didn't even know you were Brandon. I thought that was your real name.
Well, you know what? Part of that.
What's that guy's name?
You know what part of that was? All my friends in high school called me Rim, and the only people who didn't call me Rim were people who didn't actually, like people who weren't actually friends with me.
Yep. Okay. What do you think of Monty Python, and what are your favorite sketches? Monty
Someday,
Python
lad.
is awesome.
Oh, this will be yours. What, the Cottons? No, not the Cottons, lad.
Like Silly Walks.
I don't know.
I like the joke that when you read it, you die.
That one's okay. I think my favorite sketch of all time
Dennis
is
Moore.
Dennis Moore.
Dum,
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 dum.
dum. Actually, now, you might think the parrot sketch. 'Cause
Parrot's
the parrot
good, that's a
sketch
great one.
is an excellent sketch. However, there is another sketch that takes the exact same concept, but it's a used car lot instead. But it's still John Cleese, I recall, playing the straight man.
Semprini.
I think my favorite Monty Python sketch of all time has to be Salad Days.
Salad Days is not
Anyone
so great.
fancy a game of tennis?
I'm not a fan of Salad Days. It's kind of It's not the greatest.
You know what? I like almost all of Monty Python.
Yeah. They're mostly all great, but yeah, okay.
I mean, I think we're in the camp of most geeks where we can quote almost verbatim the entirety of the Quest for the Holy Grail.
Dun, dun. We don't have time for that.
No.
Okay.
God, that'd be something to put in the experimental feed.
Yeah, we got the script. It wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, what are some of your favorite bands?
Do we want to make a whole show out of that?
I like so much music. I could say what bands I really don't like because really
That's a lot easier.
the set of music that I like includes almost all of music that humans have ever made, and there is so little music that I honestly don't like.
Yep. All right, so let's just name a few. Let's see. The big ones, I guess.
Big ones that we hate or we like.
Because
All right.
that's what they're asking. So,
You know what? I like Buckethead.
yeah, Buckethead's good. Led Zeppelin.
Zeppelin. Black Sabbath.
Machina Supremacy.
Yeah, Slayer. I actually do like Slayer.
Those Asian Kung Fu Generation guys are cool.
Yeah, I actually do really like Laruku. I really like Ayumi Hamasaki, I'll admit that.
Yep.
I used to like Megumi Hayashibara, but then I found out about Ayumi.
Nobu.
Yeah. A lot of soundtracks, all the anything, it's not a band, but anything composed or in any way influenced by Yoko Kanno.
Yep.
Or I like Holsinger a lot.
What's the guy's name? The
Oakenfold?
Oh yeah, he's doing a thing, but he's not really a band. He's like one DJ. Derek the Bandit.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, what's a band? I mean,
BB King.
What's a band? Is it just the band itself of creative direction? I mean, you could say the Gorillaz, but what is the Gorillaz?
It's not even. It's like 2 people. A Daft Punk.
Oh man, Daft Punk.
All right.
I liked Metallica before I found out about other metal.
All right. I don't know. There's a lot.
I like a lot of
Zillion.
music. The Red Star Red Army chorus I really like.
Who's the what's this stupid guy's name at the New World Symphony?
Dvorak?
Yes, God. I was like thinking of all these composer names. That was the only one that didn't come to mind. Yeah, he's awesome.
All right, let's move on.
Tchaikovsky, I think, is actually my favorite.
I don't know. I really like Rachmaninoff if we're going in that direction.
Whatever.
Hey, Bells of Moscow? Fuck you. That's one of the best piano. Anyway.
Fuck you, Swan Lake.
Swan Lake's not bad. If you haven't heard the Bells of Moscow.
Yeah, whatever.
Or Rimsky-Korsakov. I like Russian music, and we'll leave it at that.
All right.
All right. What are your favorite sports to A, play, and B, watch?
Playing
Almost anything.
baseballs.
Baseball's super
badminton,
fun.
Air hockey.
Table tennis, I really freaking love. And
Counter-Strike.
tennis, roller hockey, hockey,
Volleyball. Did I say volleyball?
running, mountain biking, mountain climbing,
Yeah, bicyclings.
boxing.
I haven't boxed too much, but
I did a tiny bit in high
I
school.
imagine it could be fun if I didn't get my face smashed.
You know what? Boxing was fun until you get to the point of fighting people as opposed to just boxing, as in punching a heavy thing
Yeah.
and doing all the exercises. Like Kung Fu. I like Kung Fu, but I wouldn't want to actually Kung Fu fight anyone.
All right, and watch.
Hockey.
Oh, I like actually playing basketball, but I don't like watching basketball at all.
Oh, God.
Watching live ice hockey, number one.
Yeah, far and away.
Football, baseball,
Nah.
races, F1.
Just hockey. You know what? I really like watching kendo, but I don't like watching fencing.
I like watching, I don't know, martial arts that I like watching. Mostly like demonstrations of taekwondo and stuff.
Yeah.
Like actual martial art. Oh, sumo I like to watch. It's cool.
Actually, despite the problems of sumo, which has been talked about suddenly and kind of out of the blue in our forums,
That's
but
why I was reminded of it.
watching an actual sumo match is super awesome.
It
and
is
I
pretty
recommend you check
awesome.
it out.
Yeah. Okay. Do you modify your voices on the podcast at all? Hey, Rim, turn off the voice modifier for a second.
Okay, it's off.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
What do you think about my real voice?
I don't know. Maybe we should turn the thing back on.
I think we should talk about Animal Crossing and other games.
Oh, God.
You know what? No. Yeah, I run a bunch of filters, but they're actually kind of like standard radio filters. I run a high-pass filter. It doesn't cut out any of our voice. It cuts out like breath noises and hums and like, you know, me poking at the microphone and all that stuff.
I sound the way I do on the podcast, the same way. If you sat here and you talked, if you put your face really close to a microphone, you sound slightly different. Not much.
Actually, most of that is mitigated by my high-pass filter, too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if we get up real close, we can kind of get a smooth radio voice, but
yeah.
but even then, that's not much of a modification.
All right.
And we don't do anything. And our friends can attest. I believe it was Scott Johnson who expressed that on multiple occasions he has started to yell or argue with us while listening to the show because he forgot that we're not actually there.
All righty. You gonna ask this question?
I guess I will. Scott, what's the story behind all those plant pictures on Flickr? Well, you see, Scott grows marijuana.
Yep, I grow the wacky tobacco, even though I don't smoke it. No, I was growing a tomato plant, and I said, hey, I'll take a picture of the tomato plant every day I remember to, and then I'll have pictures of the tomato plant, and maybe we could stop motion it or something. So
Yeah.
I took pictures of the tomato plant, which is now pretty much done.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Scott actually, he took good care of that tomato plant, but he learned the difference between a determinate and a non-determinate tomato
I
plant.
learned a lot more than that about tomatoes. That's the only interesting thing.
Yeah, well, the calcium thing was kind of cool. I never thought about a vitamin or a calcium deficiency in a plant before.
All right. Rim, when did you achieve your awesome hair length, and do you have a favorite shampoo/conditioner?
I've had long hair since high school. I don't intend to ever not have long hair. If I ever started losing my hair, I would take drugs like nobody's business to make it not go away.
What if it didn't work?
Then I'd get surgery or something.
What if that didn't work?
It pretty much does. You realize that,
Would you ever go for the wig?
you know what? Possibly.
All right.
If it came to that.
That's
If
it.
I'm an old man, but the thing is, the history of my family is that hair thins, but it doesn't go away. It just kind of turns silver.
Uh-huh.
But and my hair used to be kind of like jet black, and it's really turned this kind of reddish way. I don't know. I like what's happened. A lot of people ask me what I do to it, and the answer is I go outside and there's the sun. But conditioner, I use herbal essences kind of things. Pretty much anything that smells like lavender.
You care about the smell. You don't care about anything else.
Well, also if it works, and herbal essences actually works pretty well. There's another brand I'm using now that's really good too. I forget the name of it offhand.
I
but-
use just whatever cheap shampoo I can get. Swave, whatever, Prels, Pert Pluses, anything.
The key is don't use expensive conditioner, and 2, use a lot of conditioner. A lot.
Well, if you got a lot of hair, I guess you need to use a lot.
Yeah.
I know when I shampoo and because that's all I do is shampoo and rinse it out. When I have a little bit of hair after I get a haircut, I don't need so much. But then, like now, I need a lot, so I got to get a haircut this weekend.
Anyway, what's your opinion on mandatory sentencing, i.e., another good use of i.e., 3 strikes law and such? Would you be interested in hearing your... Oh, I would also be interested in hearing your opinions on the prison system in the U.S. in general, too.
Well, we're going to do a whole episode about prison action.
I'm going to say prison industrial complex and leave it at that. Also,
it's generally bad.
Also, nonviolent offenders.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm of the opinion that any mandatory sentencing is bullshit.
Because basically what you're doing is you're leaving out any sort of judging. You're sort of, it's like, hey, some guy, robbed a convenience store 3 times. Some other guy killed 3 people. Mandatory, it's like, what the hell? The point of a sentence is that the judge, who actually looks at this person, is we trust them to figure out, like, what would help the person the most and what's going to benefit society.
Because remember, my idea when it comes to a justice system is that the priorities of a justice system should be exactly the following and in this order. 1, undo or mitigate harm done as best as is possible. 2, do everything reasonable and prudent to prevent future harm.
Yep.
There should be no other reason to have justice system.
Mandatory sentencing, the only benefit you could possibly argue for it, because it's certainly not just when you enact the mandatory sentences in most cases, is that there's to be some sort of deterrent. But time has proven it is not a deterrent.
I mean,
the death penalty is not a deterrent.
There
so
are
give it up.
there are deterrent effects. And I think the biggest one that I've seen a lot of studies for is the automatic felony if you assault, like a transit worker in New York City. Those sorts of things work really well. But the problem I have is not a mandatory charge, but a mandatory sentence, because I believe that there is always a chance for some crazy situation or a mitigating circumstance. And I think the point of having judges is that they are the person a human being who looks at a situation and says, you know what? This is what I think.
Oh, the next question is one from Wednesday, so skip that.
Oh, I don't know why it's in there.
We messed up the copy paste.
Good job. Oh, well. Hey, so is this next one.
Huh.
Good job. Scott did this. It's all Scott. All right, here's the next real question. RIT's fees are outlandish. How did you get that financed?
Like federal student loans?
I got a full ride.
All right. What's the worst idea you've ever had?
Well, some would argue the barge, but other people say that's the best idea we've ever had.
I don't know.
One time when I was a kid,
my ideas are that bad.
One time when I was a kid, I got it in my head to jump out the upstairs window, and I did.
I guess, yeah, when I was a kid, I thought all sorts of stupid things because I didn't know better. Like, I used to think, yeah, kill all the bad guys, then the world will be perfect, and stuff like that.
You know what I would say? Libertarianism with an uppercase L.
That's a pretty bad idea.
I was much more politically revolutionary when I was younger, and that was mitigated a lot by studying history more than anything.
All right. What do you think about Threads derailing?
I think it's great.
Yeah, whatever. People talk about whatever they want to. What do you care if it's organized properly? It doesn't matter.
This is kind of a best gift you would ever receive. Now,
would ever?
Well, the best gift I'm ever going to receive, I expect, is to be knighted and then ascend to godhood. But
why would the godhood follow knighting?
Well, because then I'll be given a godhood. It'll be a gift from someone. I figure I deserve that.
The best?
At least some posthumous deification. I mean, come on.
I'll just, to repeat yesterday, I'll just say SDF1. That'd be a nice gift.
The best gift I've ever gotten. I'm actually going to, I think in terms of influence on my life, the most important gift I've ever gotten was the Nintendo Entertainment System when I was a child.
That's a pretty important gift.
It sounds silly, but I really think that influenced the person I am culturally, just culturally, not anything else, more than anything else I've ever received.
That was a pretty important gift.
I'm sure my mom would laugh and cry if she heard that, but
I can't think of really. I mean, I'm not really big on gifts. It's like, now, I mean, when I was a kid, gifts would be a big deal. Like, oh man, I got something, because I wouldn't get much.
Oh, Christmas was like the most important day of the year for me.
But I mean, none of those are really so important, and maybe the Nintendo is the most important of those. And after, I was a kid, I could buy whatever I wanted, so I don't really need a gift. So and I'm not so materialistic. I don't really, I don't want things, It's like maybe if someone gave me enough money to significantly change my life, but really, material goods aren't so great to me.
All right, here's another one. What was the greatest thing of the day?
Oh, it's a tough call.
Things of the day. Things of the day. Thing of the day.
I don't know. It could be press A. Press A.
That might be because I laughed a lot at that one.
That was a good one.
I have a few favorites. I don't know if I can say.
There's a handful of favorites, but that's the first one that came to mind.
I might get back to that one if I remember something.
You can't live 10 Pokemons.
Oh man, that one affected the show the most.
It did. Okay.
You can't name good things of the day times 10.
No, not really.
All right.
Regardless, have either of you learned or attempted learning a foreign language?
Well, in high school, I wanted to take Russian, but Russian was at the same time as banned, so I couldn't. And then I wanted to take Japanese, but Japanese was at the same time as banned, so I couldn't. So I wanted to take French, and nothing stopped me from taking French.
In middle school, I took Spanish. In 2 years of high school, I took Spanish. And I can actually kind of read a Spanish newspaper. It's scary.
Yeah, I can read a French newspaper pretty okay.
I can kind of figure out what a lot of the words mean, even though I haven't spoken Spanish or anything. Like, if I'm walking around and people are speaking Spanish, I can kind of tell what they're saying.
I was super into it in high school.
But I can't speak Spanish. Like,
and
not at all. I can say, like, hi, how are you? Would you like to play baseball? Yeah.
I think I had a pretty good lexicon.
And I'd probably conjugate things incorrectly.
I wasn't fluent, but I could speak I could make myself understood, I think. Pretty okay. The problem was once you stop taking classes, there's absolutely no opportunity in my life to practice French at all, especially going back to RIT where there was just no call for it. If anything, in IT, I should have learned Chinese.
Yeah.
Or Chinese.
But I guess I've attempted to learn. I guess I've learned Japanese just by, like, osmosis.
It's scary, the stupid things Scott and I know in Japanese. Every now and then Emily will laugh, and we just know some random word.
And of course, being a Jew, I know some Hebrew by osmosis, but scarily, I know more Japanese by osmosis than Hebrew.
Yep. I started trying to learn Korean, and I got to the point of being able to order liquor and being able to say hello and being able to ask where simple things were and being able to ask people to give me simple things. Yep. And I learned Hangul, and I promptly forgot it all.
As soon as I get some time, I'm going to start learning, like, the non-kanji languages so I can read the sound effects in the manga. That's
languages, you say?
Alphabets.
Okay. So hiragana and katakana.
Yeah.
I kind of learned half of hiragana. I just have to practice, but I don't. And
I know a few characters, mostly ni, and me, because it was on my anime club t-shirt. They had the 3 characters there, so I can recognize those.
Do you have any language-related stories, misinterpretations and such, involving foreigners or you as the foreigner?
Not really.
Nah, sadly.
Okay. What kind of philosophies do you guys believe in? I'm talking solipsism, nihilism, humanism, existentialism, transcendentalism, that kind of stuff. We already know you're atheist.
Well, see, it depends because on how, like, to the core you get. Because at the core, philosophically, I can only believe in and profess solipsism.
Yep, pretty much.
I mean, any other philosophy is interesting and maybe applicable to the real world, but when it comes down to it, solipsism is the only thing I can trust. Now, I'm assuming you know, whoever asked this, what all these mean. At least I hope you do. But do you think we should explain it or just move on?
I really don't care so much.
All right, I'll say it this way. I am solipsistic.
All of them and none of them.
I am solipsistic in the philosophical sense, but not in the OMG, I'm the only person in the world sense, because that sense is not the point of solipsism.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it. What are some other things that are legal that others think are the law? I think you mean, what are some things that are legal that people think are illegal? One of them is not identifying yourself unless you are being arrested.
Well,
of course, that varies by
different states. Like, for example, I know in some states, if a police officer asks you, all you have to do is tell them your name and address. You don't have to tell them anything else unless you're arrested.
Yeah. One thing that's important is if you don't want to talk to a police officer and they're in uniform and on duty, and of course this probably varies again from state to state, but at least where I've lived, if they're not arresting you, you are always free to go and just say walk away.
You just
and
say, can I leave now? And if they'll say yes if they're not arresting you, and then you leave.
The only possible exception to that,
if they say no, then they're detaining you, which is a whole nother story.
And they can detain you a little bit, but not forever, and they can't arrest you, and there's all sorts of crap.
Unless they have a reason to arrest you.
Yeah, you don't need to show the receipt when you walk out of a store.
Yeah.
Private citizens cannot detain you, period.
You can use your camera pretty much anywhere on public property, or anywhere from public property. So if you're standing on public property, you can take pictures of private property.
Now, a lot of cities,
as long as you don't use like a zoom lens to zoom in.
a lot of cities are passing really crap laws, particularly New York City about that. But generally, by and large, and there's a thing online called the Photographer's Bill of Rights you can look up. If you're, as far as I've read, and a lot of people seem to agree, if you're on public property, anything you take a picture of is fair game. People, dogs,
Yep,
if someone's window's open and they're naked, picture, great. There's
However, according to Emily, in some places like in New York City, there are like ordinances. Like
that's not according. That's according to the law. There's signs everywhere.
You can't use like tripods and things.
Oh yeah, that's different because that could be an obstruction.
Because then you're setting up. But if you got like your little digital camera, you're good to go.
Now, using those pictures is a different story altogether. But generally, from what I've read, posting those pictures in something like Flickr or for free in a non-commercial way is almost always okay.
Yep.
The problem is if you take a picture of a copyrighted work, and we're not lawyers, so I can't talk about that.
Yep.
I don't know. This isn't a really interesting question, so.
Okay. What if one of you guys suddenly died?
Well, we haven't planned for that, so Geeknights might go on a quite, not permanent, but definitely month-long hiatus as, papers were filed to get passwords to things.
Yeah, there'd probably be lots of, I guess funeral type activities and that sort of stuff, and not working, working again.
If we get to the next level and we start having more, because right now Scott pretty much handles all the system side of everything, and I handle the audio and archiving side of everything, and like Scott handles our artist stuff, and I handle our like producer PR stuff, and we don't really overlap a lot on that. So if one of us went, the show would stop for a while until we found someone who could do the rest of that. And I don't think one person could do it all.
No, I don't think so either.
But content-wise, I don't know. I can think of a couple people that could possibly replace either of us.
Have you guys ever gone on any epic quests like Harold and Kumar going to White Castle? We tried to get... What?
Many.
We tried to get to that...
Miyamoto?
I guess if you count that.
I think that was an epic quest that ended in failure and taught us that you can't half-ass an epic quest.
We tried to get to that Bob Evans and failed a couple times.
Oh, God, that wasn't an epic quest. That was a series of epic quests.
That was a failed side quest.
Multiple. There's this Bob Evans in Rochester, and anytime we ever went like to the beach or anywhere up north, on the way back, we'd always be super hungry, and we'd see this Bob Evans, and we're like, God damn, and it's on the right. We're like, all right, let's go. If you just try to turn right, that's the on-ramp to the freeway, and there's no way back.
Yep.
And for the life of us, we could not figure out how to get to this goddamn Bob Evans.
And we never got to it.
It was awful. In high school, I went on a bunch of these. We just the fuck was that?
A truck?
Yeah, anyway. There was a loud noise and it startled me. But in high school, a lot of times, me and my friends, we'd just be like, you want to just go to Cedar Point? Yeah, let's go to Cedar Point. Just fucking leave and skip school, and something epic would always happen.
On the way back from Otakon once, we had that side quest for gasoline.
Oh, yes. I was asleep through... All right, so here's the deal. We're driving back from Otakon, and I'm too tired to drive. So I say, all right, you two clowns, one of you's driving, and I fell asleep in the back.
So I drove Rim's car home from Otakon.
I woke up, and I noticed we're not on a freeway anymore. And there's no lights anywhere. And we're going real slow. So I'm like, guys, what's going on? Where are we?
Basically, we're running out of gas, and there was no stop for a long time. So I got off the first exit I could, and there was a gas station, but it was old-fashioned, needed a guy to pump the gas. But there was a guy there, but he was inside, and he waved at us like, sorry. So I drove around trying to get back on the highway, but I failed. So we went up this mountain road that was scary and dark and empty. So then we finally got back on the highway after a long time, thinking we were going to run out of gas. And then we got to the next exit miraculously and got gas.
I think my biggest epic quest was the time... Well, there's that long road trip I went on, but the time, kind of out of the blue, I drove with Luke and Skojo to Anime Central from Rochester.
Nah.
In a car that broke down in Indiana, and we had to hobble it into Michigan to get it fixed. And I'm not going to tell the story. That would really derail this. But suffice to say, that was an epic, epic trip.
All right. What scares you the most?
In anything?
I just says what scares you the most. Movie, video games, goatsy. I guess none of those. I'm not scared of movies, video games, or goatsy.
Goatsy startled me the first time I saw it, because all I could think was, what is that? There's no way it's what I think it is.
But
God!
What scares me the most, pretty much one of the only things that scares me, is like doctoring. Like if I watch like a surgery on TV or I think about getting surgeries or anything like that, it's like, ew.
Sadly, I just really don't get scared easily or often.
Yeah. Or better,
or better yet, what are laws that you think are stupid? All right, we can't. That'll
DMCA, Patriot Act.
That'll derail the show.
Yeah.
What life events would cause you to pod
We
fade?
both died.
Yeah. I don't know. I
The
mean,
internet stopped working.
it would take a lot.
House burned down.
Even if one of us lost our job, we have plenty of money to keep it going. Even if both of us lost our jobs, we have plenty of money to keep it going. If the house burned down, I could just buy all new equipment and start going like the next day from the hotel room.
Yep.
If social order broke down in the United States, that's pretty much what it would take. And even then,
Because I'd be doing something else besides podcasting. And even then, I'd probably still be doing something on the internet.
at that point, that's the thing. If social order broke down, Geeknights would basically become Radio Free America.
Something like that.
Right. You guys often talk about business plans that you're unable to pursue. If someone gave you $10 million to start a business, what would you do?
Live off the interest and do whatever I wanted.
I'd start the $10 million Rim lives off the interest and does whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
I'd invest in a lot of public works. I wouldn't start a company. I wouldn't do a business. I would just do what I think was right in the world with my money.
There are basically three businesses I would do. One business would be like the Geeknights company or the Front Row Crew Studios or whatever.
Yeah.
Another business would be the local computer repair shop, because that would be like, and
One might be the turn the American anime industry on its head.
maybe. The only other one I can think of would be get a Wii or DS development kit and start doing the business.
But seriously, those would all effectively be hobbies. If I had that much money, I would honestly just use that money to affect the world in the ways that I wanted in order to effect the change that I wanted. And that would be the end of it. A business is just a means to get the money to do those things.
All right, do you have a clever answer to the next question?
Not really. Want to skip it?
How do you feel about self-referential questions?
They're okay. How come you guys can't make your own show ideas up?
All right, you try coming up with 4 ideas every week that don't require research, that you can just do at the spur of the moment, and you already know everything you need to know, and it'll be fun for you to actually do that idea.
Not just fun for you, but fun for two people.
Yeah,
You know how often we come home and I'm like, man, we should totally do a show on Mudkips, and Scott's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, we can come up with a shit ton of ideas. The hard part is we both want to do them. We're both ready to do them. They match the current day. You know, it's not easy.
What originally prompted you guys to start the Geeknights podcast?
I was sitting around, back in the day before podcasts even were the thing.
This is actually a good story.
Right? We would every night, pretty much. We lived in the same place in college.
We kind of went to bed the way Anthe and Utena do.
Not so close.
Not so close, but the same. Watch the show, you'll see.
We would talk, and like when just people would come over to our house, we'd all sit around, and me and Rim would talk, and other people wouldn't talk as much.
It wasn't just when we went to bed, but oftentimes not when we had a huge group of people over, but when we had people over at our house and it was late at night.
Especially like new people who didn't know us too well, and they would be shy. Like we would start talking to each other, and these people just listening would be cracking up and falling all over themselves.
And it was weird. The conversations in our apartment often turned into me and Scott talking and everyone else being an audience, straight up, not even just watching.
And as, we were technologically minded, we would always think, why aren't we recording everything we say? Why aren't we recording everything? Why aren't we recording everything?
Yeah, and we were like, we should totally make an internet radio show,
Right,
like Pillow Talk with Rim and Scott.
Yeah, and one time I did, in fact, I think it's still on the internet somewhere on my blog, which I have actually updated twice recently. I just recorded myself talking into like my Logitech headset and tried to make an audio blog, which was before podcasting, or around the same time as podcasting, and then eventually, we kind of let that slide, and when I got the iPod Nano, I discovered podcasting because I started using iTunes.
And I thought podcasting was stupid, and I ignored it.
And then, I started listening to a bunch of podcasts, and then one day I was like, hey, Rim, you want to just do this freaking podcast thing?
And I thought about it, and I realized that we had everything we needed, and we had money. And the other thing was, and this is, I think, the real impetus, we're out of college now. We have a big house upstate. We make a shit ton of money. We're working in the city. Like, everything's great in our lives. We come home every day. We watch a movie or two, or like 2 episodes of anime.
Play a bunch of video games.
Play video games for like an hour or two. Play German board games all night. Like I was living the dream. It was everything I had wanted from college, except of course, all the people of college to be around with me. But regardless, and suddenly that became unfulfilling. I felt like I'm not going to I wouldn't get anywhere.
What it was is in college, we had a whole bunch of free time, but we didn't have enough money to purchase enough entertainment to occupy that free time. If we had more money, we could have had more fun in college. However, when we got out of college, we had a bunch of money and not so much free time. So we bought all this stuff because we were acting like we were still in college, but we couldn't enjoy all the stuff. So we'd come home and be like, oh man, look at all this stuff. Woo, 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 woo. And eventually we're just like, all right, I'm tired of stuff. And that's when we felt like we had to do something and create something rather than just enjoy things that someone else created.
Now, part of that, honestly, you can trace back to the RIT Anime Club. Because one thing, I mean, we were in college and we went to anime cons and stuff, but even like the first anime con we ever went to, we ended up doing a panel.
Yep.
And we did this more and more and things like that. And then, I was the president of the anime club. And while Scott didn't have an official position, he actually did a lot of work for the anime club. And
I got no respect.
We didn't really think about it then, but, and this might sound a little egotistical, but having an audience of that many people and having just creating content in any way, like running that club or being up in front of people, or it even sounds silly, but being able to be on the other side of the table at an anime convention or on the stage instead of in the crowd, or like I wouldn't even be going to anime conventions anymore if I wasn't podcasting, because I just going to an event like that is not fun for me unless I'm doing something at it.
To be perfectly honest, I mean, anime cons are super fun when I first went to them, but nowadays, I guess gaming cons are still fun because I'd be playing games, and I guess like PenguinCon, something like that, if it happened again, could be awesome. But anime cons really aren't fun for me anymore unless I'm running stuff. Then they're super fun.
And, we had fans, we had audiences, and when we left college, that went away. And one day I realized that, wow, I'm going to be like that Jim Carrey sketch. I'm going to have to reach back for glory. And I realized that I never in my life want to be at a point where I'm going to have to reach backward in time to find my glory days.
Yep.
And now we have a large audience of people that are listening to this right now, so I feel like I'm accomplishing something.
All right.
That's the short answer.
Are you gay? No messing around. Just tell us so we can stop the charade and spoil everyone's fun. I don't know, Emily, we gay?
Yes.
Oh, so great, yeah.
It's funny because the people who seem to actually think we're gay tend to not live in urban areas. And when I say urban areas, I mean like tier 1 urban areas. For many of you out there, I'd just like to point out that in like New York City, 2 or 3 or 5 guys sharing an apartment and living the way we do is like beyond common.
Yeah.
And 2, no, we're not gay. In fact, to anyone who knew me prior to podcasting or knows me in my real life, especially if you knew me in high school or in the first several years of college, I think gay would be the last word that would have been used. And I think a lot of other words involving, I don't know, let's just leave it at that. I fancied myself the ladies' man, and there are kind of funny pictures of me being the ladies' man from the perspective of the
like
camera.
The one where you're wearing the tiara, or the one where you're wearing the dress.
Or anytime there's a picture of me and women that was taken by someone other than me, or I don't know the camera's there, I always have this look on my face of, hey there.
Uh-huh.
And it's, yeah, we're not gay.
What are your views on immigration? How do you feel about the so-called wall of shame? What do you think of the Minutemen?
It's complicated. I don't know. I think we should do a show on it, to be honest.
My general stance is that I don't like illegal immigration, but I do think we should just allow legal immigration for anybody. Let them all in.
I kind of disagree with that because economically, history has shown that almost never ends well.
Oh, well, tough. And Minutemen, those guys are just murderers.
Well, they did. As far as I know, most of them didn't kill people. They just marched up and down, and if they saw someone coming across the border illegally, they grabbed him and took him to the police.
So then they're just vigilantes then.
Yeah.
So however you feel about vigilantes.
Yeah. All right, here's a better question. Who are all the members of the front row crew, and how did you meet all of them? If it's too long, just list the top 10. No pressure. Now, I find this funny because the top 10, right? No matter who we say, someone's going to hear this and think, how come they didn't say me? Ah! I guess we could at least tell the story of how we met because it's actually kind of short.
So we went to RIT.
We're all freshmen in college.
And what do? We don't have any. We don't know anyone there, right? We're just freshman, but I know it's RIT. I know there's a million nerds everywhere. So where do I look to find more nerds that I know will be my friends?
The gaming club.
The gaming club and the anime club. So I go to the gaming club, and I carry my little box of BattleTech, and what do you know? There's a game of D&D going on, so I hop on in, and I meet some people.
Most of the front row crew, like almost all the founding members of the front row crew played in that D&D game.
Yep. And then, I went to the anime club before the gaming club, but it's an anime club. You sit there and look at a screen. I didn't really
It's
talk.
kind of cool.
I didn't talk to anyone there except Luke Morgan.
If our lives were an anime, it would, like, the flashback now would cut back to, like, the first anime club and show, like, this huge room with hundreds of people in it. And then the room would kind of, like, fade to dark a little bit, but there'd be kind of light circles around the faces of, like, 20 different people. Like, those people who don't know each other yet are going to form the constellation, much like the Fist of the North Star, and achieve greatness.
Yep. And then, of course, being nerds that were the kind of nerds that would go to the first gaming club and anime club meetings at RIT. At the next anime club meeting, hey, I recognize you.
We all noticed each other.
And then we were all freshmen, so of course, when we went to the freshman eatery, we recognized each other, like, hey, I recognize you. And
over
that was
time,
that.
like, we coalesced into, like, 3 groups of eating, and then they coalesced into one, and then the chaff kind of got cut off bit by bit, and over time, the core group of the crew just kind of emerged spontaneously. And then we recognized it as such, partly because we were almost, as a group, kicked out of the anime club. Little did they know that we would take it over the following year.
Punned.
But they called us that front row crew because we all sat in the front row, and we were rowdy and unruly and loud and caused nothing but trouble.
All right.
And from there, we actually kind of we had semi-formalized ways of voting on things in the front row crew for a long time.
Yeah. I'm trying to hurry this up here.
Why?
Because I would like to answer more questions rather than less.
But I think people want to hear the story.
We've told the story before on the podcast also, so they can go listen to that
Obviously,
too.
they didn't listen.
That's right. They should go back.
All right, if you guys wanted to hear the rest, well, you can blame Scott.
You can go listen to the freaking old episodes.
What's your next question, Scott?
Better question, which is actually says on the paper. What do you think of the gay thread? Fan fiction, fan art?
Well, I mean, you can make pretty good shirts with gay thread, but
No!
You know what? I find it hilarious.
I don't think it's that funny, but whatever floats your boat.
I find the idea of it hilarious. More
I don't
importantly,
really find the idea of it hilarious either, but whatever floats your boat.
I'll admit, when I saw that fan art, I lost it. I couldn't. I crack up even thinking about it.
All right.
All right. Oh, this is a good question, but not because it's a good question. Regarding the epic struggle among the 4 major factions of the world, who do you think will win? Monkeys, ninjas, pirates, or robots? And the answer is unimaginative people who were stuck in the late 90s.
No, I think the real answer is robots, and here's why. Monkeys are just monkeys. They're not, like, superpowered. Even gorillas, not so powerful. Ninjas, the real ninjas in the real world, not so exciting. Pirates in the real world have guns and rockets, and they could beat both monkeys and ninjas. Robots are real, and robots have the potential to beat even pirates. Robots win.
But here's the real answer, because I see a lot of people wearing shirts at cons. They're like, pirate versus ninja. Or even worse, I see a lot of people in artist alleys trying to still market this pirates versus ninjas thing. And
Pirate, ninja, zombie, robot, monkey, Frankenstein, vampire.
But the thing is, they all,
vampire.
with rare exception of vampires, they do it really uncreatively. And it seems like that nowadays, the whole pirate versus ninja thing is almost a sign of you could have been cleverer, but you weren't. And it's so overplayed, and it's not funny anymore at all.
Yep.
In fact, I think the most recent poop jokes and top hats, Wondermark,
Excellent choice.
I think that they just said exactly what I said in fewer words.
Yep. Okay. KMFDM or MDFMK?
Oh, well, I can't click on the links because this is a piece of paper.
I don't know what MDFMK is, so I'll say KMFDM.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the same.
All
Well,
right.
what is MDFMK, or did you just make that up?
I have no idea, and I click on the link to find out, but I'm using a piece of paper.
Have either of you ever had a sleepwalking problem?
Nope.
Nope. Are you still working on your How to Podcast book?
That's
Yep.
All right. We know you're all about the geeky conventions and such, except for tech conventions, but what are your thoughts on the not quite convention events like 24-hour film marathons?
I used to find them awesome when I had infinite free time. We'd marathon anime regularly.
Yeah, but now they take too much time. For
Like, it's sad, but now, like, I want to marathon a show. Like, yeah, let's watch all El Hazard because it's great. But I also want to hang out with my friends and play video games with my friends. And it's like watching something is the least active thing. Like it relies the least on being social. And as a result, it always falls by the wayside.
Yep. Please confirm your political position and explain and defend your statement that anyone can be able to be fired at any time for any reason apart from race, sex, etc.
One, it's that way in almost every state in the United States. That like the idea that you can't just be fired without cause is super rare.
You can only not be fired for a discriminatory reason. For example, I'm firing you because you're Asian, or I'm firing you because you're a woman. You can't do that. But for any other reason, like, I don't like the work you're doing, you're fired. Even if they're doing great work and can prove they're doing great work, it doesn't matter. You're the boss, supposedly, so it's up to you. You have complete control over your business. That's what capitalism is. You run
Now,
a business, you do whatever you want.
I have two answers, and I think both of them are probably equally valid. One is that the moment you set up an economy or a situation where there are people who are protected from being fired. Now, there are exceptions to this, like monopolies, local monopolies, like, for example, coal miners in a coal mining town.
You're coming up with my argument about unions from a week ago.
Yeah, but those are rare exceptions, and even then, things like I think a union is a much better way to handle that than a law.
Yep.
But the moment you say that someone cannot be fired from a job, you're setting up a situation where people will do poor work and nothing can be done. And you might say, oh, but that's not necessarily true. I submit to you...
Communist Russia.
Oh, worse than that. And there are many examples. I'm not going to get into details. I don't want to derail it, but read about what is going on in the nation of France right now, specifically in terms of jobs and the economy. Because the worker protection laws in France are to the point that it's practically destroying the economy of France. And it's not just France. There are a lot of places where this is true. And regardless of your ideology, history shows that the moment you alter an employer can fire someone whenever they want principle, you're effectively ruining the economy of that country.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. To be perfectly honest, be honest with yourself. If there was no way that you could be fired, or if there was some way you could prevent yourself from being fired with some sort of protection, I would just completely stop working and do whatever I wanted at home as soon as I enabled that protection.
Or even worse, what if I have a little small company, right? Like I'm running a local burger joint that I started with my friends, and I hire a guy to sweep the floor. And what if he just decides not to sweep the floor anymore? I should be able to fire him.
He found some way to make it illegal for me to fire him.
So I'm forced to keep an employee?
I'm forced to lose all this money to a guy just because I accidentally hired someone who was an ass.
All right, is this view applicable just in your line of work or for everyone? How can people build... Oh, it's the same question. How can people build for a future, get a mortgage, go on a holiday, etc., if they might not have an income next month? Not every sector has so many job opportunities. You describe an IT as having where you live. Well, I'll say this. If you want to have pretty much guaranteed employment, you have to live in a major urban center. Otherwise, you're taking a risk. That's the sad fact. If you don't...
It's your decision where to live. So if there's nowhere to work where you live, you either move or deal with it. And second of all, if you don't have any skills that are valuable in the current world, that's sort of your fault. You should go learn something about, or get some skills that are, valuable.
Or at least, I mean...
That's like saying, oh man, I'm a good musket repairman. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of work in the 21st century.
Actually, you will in a lot of historical societies and reenactment societies.
I know, but you get the idea. If you have if your skills are outdated, or if your for example, if you're a corn farmer living in New York City, not too much work for you. You move or learn different skills. Those are your choices. If you're not making money, there are plenty of jobs to go around. Go on Craigslist. There's a million companies looking to hire people.
The problem
There's
is
plenty of things that people don't know.
Most of those companies are in major cities. And if you want guaranteed employment, you have to move to a major city. That's kind of the cost benefit of living in a city.
It doesn't have to be a city, but you have to learn valuable skills that are valuable to somebody with money, and then you have to move somewhere where those skills are in demand. Those are the two things you have to do. And if you don't do those two things, then you can't complain because it's your fault. And if you do those two things, you'll have a job and money. So
So what's your favorite mindless self-indulgence song?
The only song I know they do is that Bitches song.
That's also the only song I know. I thought I did. For all I knew, they were a joke band that made one song.
Yeah.
And I like that song, but
All right. Rim, are you still thinking about going to law school?
See, I am. I really am, and I was looking at taking the LSATs, and I still think I
And you
might.
just got a new job.
Well, here's the problem. I just got a $20,000 raise by snapping my fingers, and I discovered that I could have gotten a lot more money if I'd asked for it. And I'm already bitter about that, but that's fine. So if I can get a $20,000 raise by snapping my fingers, and I expect to be able to get another $20,000 raise on top of that in the relatively near future by snapping my fingers again, I'd like to get a law degree, but
Waste of time.
I'd be better off just learning the law.
Yeah. All right.
On several shows, you talk about making grilled cheese sandwiches and adding dill to them. I've been craving grilled cheese sandwiches and thought of adding dill. Do you use dill seeds or dill weed? What you want to do to make the perfect grilled cheese is first get a Calphalon pan or a good griddle. Put some butter in it. Let that butter melt. Drop a piece of bread on that butter. Drop your cheese on that bread. Put dill on the cheese. Spritz a little bit of water on the pan. Cover the whole thing. Steam it for like 15 seconds to melt the cheese. Lift the thing up. Put the other piece of bread on. Put more butter down. Flip it over. Put some dill on the side that you just grilled. Wait another, however long it takes, and then eat it. That's going to be the best goddamn grilled cheese sandwich you've
Best
ever had.
goddamn grilled cheese ever. Here's how it goes. Ready? 2 pieces of whole wheat bread. Rub some butter on both sides of each bread. Get some cheese, some nice sliced cheese. Maybe
What kind of cheese?
Well, maybe some Kraft singles, maybe some Swiss.
Oh, Swiss is okay.
Maybe some Swiss cheese, maybe some provolone cheese, something that melts.
Honestly, the best cheese, I believe, to make a grilled cheese with is Monterey Jack. Or at least like a Jack
See,
and
the
something.
thing that I care about most, though, is that it's thinly sliced big pieces of cheese. I don't like it when you use like the little chunks of cheese. It doesn't work out.
Well,
so.
see, the
it's
chunks
more
of cheese-
difficult to melt.
That's why you steam it.
I know, but
And
see,
you
here's
use a
the thing.
meltable cheese.
No, you got to get the thin slices of cheese right from the deli. Deli sliced cheese. That's
Or just grate it. That's
Of
actually
your-
the best way.
grated is kind of okay. Then you get this clamp. I have this grilled cheese clamp. My parents have it anyway.
Those are okay.
The clamp is the best.
I've used the clamp before. You know what? I think the steam method is better.
No, the clamp is superior. You put water in the clamp first of all, right?
The clamps!
And then you put the bread in the clamps.
Are you saying that I should use these clamps? These clamps that I think about using every day of my
They're
life?
part of my body, right? You clamp the sandwich in the clamps, and you put the whole clamp thing in hotness, and you hold it there until the sandwich is, and you flip it over while still holding it in the clamps until it's ready for eating.
I point out that most delis and places that have good grilled cheeses, not paninis, but
They
good
just
grilled
do it on the
cheeses,
griddle, though.
They do it on the griddle with the steam method.
Yep,
Because that's the best method to make a grilled cheese.
that's an okay method.
But yeah, use
I like
dill,
the clamp, though.
Use dill weed. Do not use dill seeds.
Yeah, dill seeds are for pickles, right?
Yeah, I mean, dill weed is good. A dash of oregano is really good.
Okay, here we go. What superpowers would you pick?
Well,
I got it. The easy answer to this question is all of them, right? I'd just be like a wizard and I could do anything I
well,
wanted.
that's
I'd
why
be omnipotent, right?
I would go one step further. I would like to be able to cast spells. That's it.
Yeah, any spell I wanted and any number of times I wanted.
If I had to be more specific, overall, it would either be the ability to fly, or if I can't have it in that, rogue style, I can just kind of hover fly, class A, whatever. Then it would have to be the ability to transform my body, because then I can grow wings if I want to fly, or turn into a bird if I want to fly,
I would
or
just-
turn into a snake if I want to slither.
Yeah, if I had to pick something, specific and not being able to use one of my cheap answers like everything or I'm a super powerful wizard, I would just pick teleport. Teleport.
I don't know. In terms of practicality, I think
Because then I would live in a giant house in the middle of nowhere that costs nothing because in the middle of nowhere.
from a purely
I would
practical
teleport to
standpoint,
work.
I would choose time stop.
I don't know. Teleport's better than time stop.
No, because I would just cheat at Jeopardy. And I would cheat at everything with time stop.
I could cheat with teleport too.
Much more difficult.
I just had to cheat at different things.
Yeah, much more difficult to get untraceable money that way. Also, time stop.
What do you mean? I go to a casino, I teleport under the table so quickly no one notices, and I can look at the cards.
You can't see the cards. Have you ever been to a casino? It doesn't work that way.
In the poker tournaments, they have these pieces of glass under the cards and the cameras under there that look
So
at the
you
cards.
disappear. Your brain.
For less than the amount of time that anyone would see, because I teleport
Scott?
so fast.
Physics, that's impossible because the amount of time it takes for the photons from the cards to get to your
Fine,
eyes.
the superpower I'm picking, teleport so fast.
You know what? Time stop is better.
No.
All
Okay.
right. This is a long question that I'm not even going to pretend to read. But he's asking about our thoughts on MST3K.
It's awesome.
It's great. I don't care about
Albert Vidi Permitti.
Did that sign just say Albert Vidi Permitti?
Vidi Permitti.
To this day, God, I should Google it again. But
Yep. They're also asking about the riff tracks. Basically, the MST3K people, they make these audio files you can download from the internets, and I think you have to pay for them, but you watch a movie and you play the MP3 at the same time.
Cool idea, too much effort.
Cool idea, too much effort. I wouldn't pay for it. If it was free, I might do it. Or if someone sold the DVD with the riff track as the alternate audio track or something like that. Plus, it doesn't work if I don't have those little guys at the bottom of the screen moving around.
All right, I'm going to do the following set of questions because they're all in the same format. It's one or the other, and I'll read them all dramatic-like. But the first one is more than two. Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, Robert A. Heinlein, or Frank Herbert?
None of the above, Jules Verne.
All of the above and Jules Verne.
Okay.
Ozzy-era Black Sabbath or Dio-era Black Sabbath?
Ozzy.
Ozzy. This isn't one of those. Never mind. Are either of you of the opinion that Rain of Blood is the only Rain in Blood is the only Slayer one ever needs?
All the Slayer's good.
I don't know what's from what album or anything. I just have a directory of Slayer. If I want to hear Slayer, I literally drag it and randomize it.
That too.
Have you ever been to a Wawa?
Wawas are awesome.
Fuck
Let's not do a
yes.
whole episode.
I mean, Sea King, fuck yeah? No, Wawa.
Fuck double yeah.
Do either of you like pork rolls?
Yes.
Pork rolls, pork buns.
That's good stuff. What's your social security number?
All right, 078 05 1120. Why does Scott never announce things of the day? Things of the day. Things of the day. Things of the day.
Thing of the day.
Because I did it the first time and just Scott never did it.
All right. Do you think Japanese people ever get bored of watching zany competition shows and watch Western TV on the internet? I don't think so. Why would you?
I feel like Japanese TV is more of what I want in TV than American TV.
No, but he's talking about Japanese people.
Yeah, I know.
If Japanese people wanted Western TV, trust me, they would would watch it.
See,
and I'm sure they do. They probably got some Simpsons Seinfeld action going on over there.
I know, I don't really know, honestly. Maybe Emily knows. Yes, they do. They watch a lot of Western TV.
Okay.
Do they like Battlestar Galactica? Yes, they like Battlestar Galactica.
All right. So there you go.
We've got a resident expert here.
Well, what was your initial reaction when you first encountered Leet Speak? What do you mean? Reaction? It was just natural.
All right. When I first saw Leet Speak, I was on Prodigy, right? And obviously that was what the cool kids did, so I did it.
Well, they did the alternating capital letters.
Yes, that was early Leet Speak, you realize, was you start on a lowercase letter, you alternate uppercase, lowercase. That was it.
Yeah, and I didn't really have a reaction to it other than, hey, people on the internet who are cool are typing in a cool way to make it look cool, and then Where's people did it, and then when normal people started typing like the Where's people, I said, I guess that's going to be around for a while.
Yep, and I think the real story is I ended up deciding it was stupid. Then Megatokyo came around. Megatokyo made fun of Leet Speak in a way that made it awesome again.
Yep.
And now it's stupid again.
All right. What are some of your favorite websites other than DigFark/Dot related to tech, anime, gaming?
You know what? I don't go to websites anymore. Not like that.
Anime News Network?
Yeah.
GoNintendo.com, Kotaku,
FarkDig/Dot.
Engadget.
You know what? When I think about it, only go to blogs, news sites, and wikis.
Boing boing. Yeah, I go to the same websites everyone else goes to.
Blogs, news sites, and wikis. I don't go to websites anymore. I go to news or data aggregators.
Pretty much.
Like the idea of a website. Like I don't go to anyone's personal website ever. All right, we've heard about podcasts you hate. What are some you like related to tech,
we
anime,
already answered
gaming?
This.
Well, specifically tech, anime, gaming. I do listen to Twit.
Yeah, I listen to Twit.
The only anime... I'm sorry to all of our friend podcasters in anime. I'm of the opinion that the only anime podcasts that are really good are Geeknights, Anime World Order, Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentlemen.
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Gaming, Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentlemen.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I used to listen to a video game podcast I complain about all the time, but there aren't any good video game podcasts anymore.
Ooh, I like the next question.
And a lot of people sent me suggestions like, oh, you got to listen to this gaming podcast. Oh, you got to listen to this gaming podcast. These are good ones. They all sucked.
All right, let's do the next 5 questions and end it.
All right.
Because I think the next question is really good and it'll go a while, and the rest are really short but really great.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What is your goal in life? I mean, really, what are you guys going to do with your lives? I don't have a particular goal, like a big goal, like, aha, I've achieved it. My life is complete. Now I have nothing left to do. Because if I ever achieve that sort of finality in my life, might as well just kill myself. So my goal is just always get to better than what I've got now. And even if I was like the richest person in the world in a castle in space and at everything I wanted, I would still want something more.
I guess overweening ambition. It is the same thing. Almost not quite hubris. Not the I will cast down the gods from the skies and recreate them in my own image, for I am he who has spoke the world. But I just better, faster, stronger, more than ever, hour after.
Something like that.
Seriously, I can never see a point where I would be able to have completed my goals in life, because I will always think, could I do more?
So I guess my goal in life is get ahead as much as I can in the direction I want to go.
My goal in life,
as much as I can before I inevitably die.
Is to...
Unless I can avoid dying.
I want to have the most good impact on the world that I can. I want to be such that I am constantly peaking, that everything I do is a peak experience, that everything I have achieved is greater than that I've achieved before, that I will never retire. I will pursue my goals until death.
Well, I might retire
possibly
in the
after
sense
death.
that my main source of income is no longer like a primary full-time occupation, and now I'm collecting Social Security and other monies to live on. But
I will never be
but
a
I would be
sedentary
doing
person.
stuff. I wouldn't be living in Florida playing shuffleboard all day. That's for sure.
So in a more literal sense, we're going to try to make Geeknights the biggest it can possibly be, and we're going to do a lot of other things.
We do everything we can and everything we want to.
Do you pre-record, let's do this, at the beginning of every episode?
It's pre-recorded. It hasn't changed in like forever.
Or do you have a quay? No.
I think they meant to say Q, but they don't know how to spell.
Q is spelled awesomely, and if you spell it wrong, I hate you. Q-U-E-U-E.
Not Q-U-E. At least this kind of Q actually should be C-U-E.
Yeah, so you're a horrible person, whoever wrote that.
To keep it simple, I'm going to just ask for your opinion of a few things. Action figures and the guys who collect them.
If you have one or two awesome action figures, that's awesome. If you have a collection, you're scary.
If you go to Toys R Us every week, scary. Bears.
You can't be a bear.
How do you type with boxing gloves on?
Dragon Naturally Speaking.
Very carefully.
Have you ever seen the 1970s action classic, fuck yes, The Warriors?
No, I haven't. I never even heard of it before there was a video
Scott,
game about it.
what the fuck?
We talked about this days ago.
I know,
Why do you
but
want what the fuck?
Because I gotta be up in your grill now. The Warriors.
It came out in the 70s. I was
Yes.
born in 82.
Yes, The Warriors is one of the best movies ever made.
I don't think so.
No, seriously, it's a dumb movie. It's not a good movie. But
So why did you say it was one of the best ever made?
because the way it's done, and the plot, and the costumes, and the scene where the gang with the baseball bat, that movie is to me what RoboCop is to Dave Riley.
All right. Have you ever been in a fist fight? Did you ever get jumped or jump someone? Well, back in the public school days, mostly elementary and middle school, you'd fight all the time with kids.
I was in 3 fist fights in middle school. I won 2 of them.
Yeah, I almost choked a kid until he passed out, but then someone made me let go.
I broke a kid's nose and almost broke his jaw with 2 punches.
Yeah,
But
that's what kids do. They fight.
He
And
attacked me first, and he was kind of a prick.
Since adulthood, no more fighting.
I was almost attacked by that crazy guy. Someone tried to mug me once in Detroit, but that didn't. They were kind of meek and nothing happened. Like, it wasn't a fight. He just I walked away and he didn't do anything.
All right. Which is the best, big knife, tarantula, or limousine?
Let's just answer the next question because it's the same thing.
Have either of you really gotten into Homestar Runner? I was listening to Homestar Runner when you weren't
raised
even a
by
twinkle in your
cup of
daddy's
coffee.
eye.
Let me put it this way. Not to toot our own horn in terms of being on top of the internet. We were watching Homestar when there were like 7 Strong Bad emails.
I'm pretty sure the first Strong Bad email where his computer explodes is a result of my email. Even though I can't prove it, I'm pretty sure it is.
The front row crew at RIT got super into Homestar. You know what?
We discovered it. We were super into it. It was our favorite thing in the world. And then it was the same joke over and over again, and it got old, and we stopped paying attention to it. But we still respect it.
I've been done with Homestar for many years, and I don't find it funny anymore, but the original ones I still find hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I could look at it from time to time and still find something to enjoy in there, but I'm largely done with it.
I think the final glory of Homestar Runner was when the computer exploded.
Yep.
And that was a long time ago.
Trogdor was sort of the final glory.
Trogdor, oh man.
Coach Z's got
I just
money,
remember when
but not much.
Dave Zader. No,
Where
you know
my
what it
lasers
is?
at?
I'll tell you right now. The peak and end of Homestar Runner was the Homestar Runner CD.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the funniest thing ever.
When the first music CD came out, that was the business.
That was, oh my, I listened to that CD in a non-ironic way.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding.
Not kidding either. I karaoke that CD.
All right, following from that,
The Fahugo guys.
that doesn't follow at all. Who would win in a fight, Rim or Scott?
It depends on the kind of fight. I imagine if it was some sort
let's
of...
say right now, we just fight right now exactly with what we've got.
What kind of rules are there?
No rules, but to the death.
I'd probably win.
I think I would win.
Because I would resort to weapons and dirty tricks first.
You think I wouldn't?
Yeah, I think you wouldn't do it as effectively as I could.
If I knew I was fighting to the death, if it's some like hypothetical situation where it's just a pure, like say it's a VR simulation, we're just gonna fight to the death right now. I'm a lot stronger than Scott, and I'm a lot
Stronger
faster
doesn't
than Scott.
matter. I do dirty things like I'll bite you. And
You think
I'd go for
that
the
I
eyes.
won't.
I'd go for the crotch. I'd go for the weapons.
I've also studied martial arts, and there is something that
You
I
study martial arts. You took kung fu class at RIT for like 10 weeks.
You know what? Front through the heart leg kick is not hard to do.
Yeah,
you know
I
what?
took karate for more than 10 weeks when I was a kid, so take that.
Yeah, we'll see how well you do in a fight. Plus, I got more weapons nearby.
I got some weapons over here.
I got
would
some
be
metal scissors and a screwdriver and a harmonica.
Plus, I would
and,
be so fast downstairs to where the knives are. You have no idea.
I don't know. I think I would win in a fight.
And we already proved that I'm better with knives than you are. You cut yourself, I don't. So.
But I guess that means that I have more skill in cutting.
I guess.
In cutting people, I have more experience than you.
Yeah, too bad I'm stab proof. Okay.
All right. Ooh, this is a good one. You guys are always saying, oh, have we got a story about that? What's the best FRC story you haven't told yet?
I don't know, because if I would think of a story I haven't told, I would fucking tell it.
No, I can think of a couple that we don't tell because they would either be extremely embarrassing to someone or are really long or really personal.
Like which ones?
I don't know, ones involving certain relationships that certain people got into that maybe the crew didn't approve of. Maybe that person was a shrew.
Oh.
That one.
Okay.
There's also a bunch involving people that is, I don't know.
All right. Currently, how well do you get along with your parents and siblings?
Just fine.
Fine.
Do you ever see yourself running for office? Why or why not? Honestly,
Maybe.
yeah, in the future. I was seriously thinking about running for local office, but I don't disagree with the local government at all.
Yeah.
Except on things that I couldn't change.
Would I ever want to be a congressman?
Hells
president?
yes!
Probably. It would be fun at least for one time. If it sucked, I would just quit.
For one time, it's permanent. You can't get thrown out. You're
No,
there
I meant,
forever.
for one, term. And
you
if
know,
I didn't, I would just, because why not? If everything that I think about it, like it's corrupt, and no matter what I do, I can't fix the system, then I would get probably demoralized and quit or do something crazy, and then quit, or
Well, let me put it
do
this
something
way.
crazy and get kicked out.
they say, sword of Damocles and all. I don't think you understand American politics. The sword of Damocles has been raised by the bag full of money of Damocles, and it always falls.
Yep.
Once you are elected to the federal government as the president or a member of Congress, you are set for life and nothing bad can happen to you.
Even if you do horrible crimes.
No matter what you do, nothing bad can happen to you, period. seriously. There is no sword of Damocles
Yeah, I guess
at all.
I would want to be that to get, some of the things that go along with it. But I don't know if I'd actually want to, legislate for a good portion of my life. I don't know if I'd actually want to deal with all that bullshit.
All right, let's do 2 more questions, and
All
we'll be
right.
done.
Are there any situations in which you'd prefer a bench trial over a jury trial? Well, if I felt that the jury was not going to rule in my favor and that the judge
Yeah.
was.
I think more to the point, I hate to say this, but at least in New York State down here, I've seen how jury selection works. And once I learned that no one with a job, with any sort of job can be on a jury at all, I do not want the people who end up on a jury to be judging me in any way at all. And I would almost always prefer a judge.
Yeah,
Seriously.
at least I hope the judge, the thing is, if the judge is some old man and it's like some computer trial or something and he doesn't know anything about computers,
Well,
I guess it's a choice between two equal evils.
The one bench trial I ever had, the judge said case dismissed before I said anything.
Yeah.
So, all right, last question, because I think the answer is the same for both of us.
All right.
You can see one concert from any artist band in history. Led Zeppelin.
Well, they are doing that one concert, but
It's not the same.
Yeah,
There's no John Bonham.
yeah, go back in time, see Led Zeppelin. But I don't know, go back in time, see Mozart. Equally good.
No, you don't want to. Instruments back then sucked and the music sounded like crap.
You sure about that?
Let me put it this way. The way instruments worked back then is not the way it worked now. And while it could have sounded good, the tone of those instruments, because we've recreated those instruments in modern times, they don't sound that good.
Well, okay.
Also, because of the way, I mean, Mozart, he wrote down his music. We can play it, we're pretty sure, as well as it would ever have been played. And it's not going to be... You would have to be one freaking audiophile in the real sense of the word. I guess music file.
All right, well, then equivalent with Zeppelin, I will also say Hendrix because, I guess...
There's no good recordings?
Yeah, because then at that point in time, in like the 60s, we had excellent electric guitars and instruments, but the recording technology was terrible and Hendrix died, so we don't have any terribly good recordings of what it sounded like.
Unless theoretically, we go out into space... And from far away, we measure...
It's sound waves, not light. It's not in space.
And then we measure the quantum state of the Earth, and from that we predict the past, and then we recreate the audio that was Hendrix.
Yeah, great.
We can also get that Nazi signal.
Yeah, great.
All right. It's been over an hour. I think we're done. I hope you enjoyed...
Wow, we got a lot of fucking questions left here.
I hope you enjoyed Questions Week. There will be probably Questions Weeks 2 and 3 in the semi-near future, because it's not hard for us to do this, and you guys asked a lot of questions.
Yep. I don't know what else there is to say.
I'm going to go cook some dinner.
I'm going to go push buttons on computers.